In this video, we're going to take a look at the Helios 44-2 58mm f2 vintage lens, coming right up. What's up everybody? Phil with Bull City Pictures here with a vintage lens review. And take a look at this Russian-made Helios 58mm f2 lens. That's some unique features and really great swirly bokeh, which is great. It was made originally in Russia, starting in the 1950s. It's the Leica M mount. It's got 6 elements in 4 groups. Fairly compact. It's actually here with a adapter. You can see it's a screw-on type mount. And you can buy a number of different adapters. It does both full frame and APS-C and even micro four thirds. I use this with my Lumix GX85. Produces really nice pictures. Also my Nikon camera, both full frame and APS-C. It's got a filter thread of 49mm. It weighs about 8 ounces or so. Again, it started production in the 1950s in Russia, went down to the 1990s. So you can find these on eBay for between $40 and $80 depending on the condition. I actually ordered mine from the Ukraine. It's a great little lens. It's got one unique feature, which you'll see here, and that is the ability to be able to preset your focus. So there's a clicked aperture. You should be able to hear that, which you can change your aperture, but also it allows you to preset. So back in the olden days when we had just regular SLRs, you could compose your shot, get everything ready to go at f2, so you have all that light coming in through the mirror that would bounce up into the eyepiece so you can see what you're doing, and then you could preset it to whatever aperture that you actually wanted to take the shot, and you just turn this and it would actually go from f2 to whatever aperture it is that you've set. So you can preset. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit confusing. It's definitely different than what we're used to, but it's a great little feature. The throw on this for the manual focus, completely manual lens. There are no contacts that are going to be made, so you won't get any information about aperture and shutter speed, but you can see the throw is quite long. Works great for video. Check out this video. I just wanted to show you the bokeh of this, and this video is shot at f2. So check that out. So that's the video. It actually is really good for video. If you want to set the aperture up to be clickless, you can. As you can see here, it's just very, very smooth. So it's a great lens for video. Also really, really nice for photos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to the computer. We're going to go through some of the photos that I took at American Tobacco with my daughter. I'll show you some of the features of this lens, what the lens can actually do. And these were on the Fuji X-T20. The video came actually from that Panasonic GX85. I'm going to take you over to the computer and show some pictures, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. So here we are in Lightroom. This is kind of an abstract shot. Just wanted to kind of show you the bokeh, and you can see a little bit of the swirl here. This is kind of out of focus. If you look down in the bottom corner here, you can see that. But the point that's in focus is very sharp focus. This is just water running over a concrete rock. Also did some portraits. This is one. Actually, let me show you this first, give you a little idea of the bokeh as well. It's a picture of just a sign. You can see my daughter in the background. This was taken at f2. All these shots were taken at f2. Pretty much that's the only way you're going to use this lens, or at least the only way I would use this lens. And you can just see that creamy bokeh. You can see a little bit of the ghosting that we're going to see here in a couple minutes, but not too bad in this shot. There's a little bit of, it's overexposed a little bit in that area. We'll take a look at a couple of portraits here. And you can see the color reproduction. You can't really tell because you weren't there, but it seems pretty true. Great colors. The skin's skin tones look great. I just love the way it kind of blends the skin together. So this is straight out of the camera. These are raw files, really nothing done except some minor adjustments to exposure where needed. But you can see there the detail is pretty good. The colors look good, contrast looks good. Overall, it's just a nice little lens. Here's another portrait. At f2, it's easy to slightly misfocus like I did here. Again, that's with f2 on any lens, but you can see the color. Again, you can see the bokeh here. It looks really, really nice. See a little bit of the swirling here, but we'll see more of that as we go through these other pictures. And then one more portrait. Again, you can see the colors here. This one's a little more properly exposed than the last one. You can see the exposure looks really nice. The colors are good. The contrast is good. And this is in the shade. Once we got out into the sun, a little bit of a different story. You can see here that this was partial shade, and you can really see the swirly bokeh here, which really looks nice. But this is just a little sample of the ghosting. You'll see it in two more pictures. It gets really, really bad. But again, the contrast not so great in bright light or when bright light's coming in. You might want to try to find a lens hood. I'm going to show you another shot again where you can just see, again, they're all at f2. Just the bokeh is amazing. The exposure is kind of difficult in this particular case. It's kind of blown out here in the corner, but you can just see the bokeh. This just completely disappears. You can see the signs in pretty good focus. This one is an example, pretty strong example of what you'll see in the sunlight. You really see the ghosting here. The contrast is pretty bad. The image itself is pretty bad when you get into that really bright sunlight. Again, if you can find a lens hood certainly would help. And just this last one here of a security box. But again, you can see just the amazing creamy bokeh that this produces. And a little bit of the swirl here in the corner. It's just I think it's a really cool bokeh effect, but the bokeh looks really nice, good, high quality. So that's it for these pictures. We'll take you back and we'll wrap up this review. Pros and cons. As you can see from the pictures, there is some ghosting. It doesn't really seem to handle bright lights very well, but I guess you could probably search and find an adapter for it. I have no idea. I haven't actually looked yet, or you can just try to maybe retrofit one that you have, but definitely be where you saw the ghosting when you're in bright lights. It's manual focus, manual aperture, so whether that's a pro or con, I'm not sure. I think you'd probably expect that from a lens like this. I paid $40 for mine, so I really can't complain all that much about it. It's a great little lens. The bokeh is amazing at f2, and it's got that swirly bokeh as I showed you, which is interesting. Kind of, again, I think that's a pro. Some may call it a con. I think it's really neat. One of the reasons that I looked into buying this lens. It's very light. And again, the manual focus with most of the mirrorless cameras that we have today, it's pretty easy. You can punch in and look at it and check your focus, so it should be fairly easy to get focus. Although at f2, at shallow depth of field, you still need to be careful about that focus, and you can get some shots out of focus fairly easily at f2, but that's the same with any manual focus lens. This is Phil with Bold City Pictures. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, please click on that bell icon, and that will allow you to get notifications whenever we upload a new video or we go live. Thank you so much for taking the time to view this video, and we'll see you again in the next one.